Okay, good morning. I confirm that we're broadcasting live onto YouTube. So President Ryan Chase, you can go ahead and get us started with our meeting today.
Great. Thank you everyone for being here. I call this meeting to order at 9:07. Again, thank you all for your time, especially during this craziness. If we don't have any public comment, which I don't believe we do, then we'll go to the review the minutes from last meeting. If everyone can take a look at the bottom of your agenda. There wasn't really, I guess, much from last meeting. I think the main thing was the OCTA marketing ad hoc committee, which we formed and met, and we'll be sharing with that later. Does anyone have any questions on the past meeting?
Nope.
Can we get a motion on that, please?
Move to approve.
Can we get a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I can't see everybody, but it doesn't sound like it, so thank you for that. We'll go to our clean and safe report.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Just want to share with you some additional tasks that we were asked to assist with, and we were more than happy to assist with the task. And basically, as you know, we have some wonderful outdoor sitting areas in downtown Santa Ana. We call them Full Islands. And just wanted to share a few pictures of what we do. Of course, we got to get the equipment, which consists either of K-rails, Butterfield K-rails, or bike racks. And, we have several throughout downtown. Julie was able to purchase some equipment at the beginning of last year, I believe, October or November. And then we ended up buying more equipment about a month ago or so, because the demand is growing from different business owners in downtown requesting the outdoor sitting areas. And we set up the K-rails where we can, and then we also set up the bike racks in different locations. There are a few that only have the A-frames. We just wanted to share a couple of pictures of the initial setup. This is just what we were doing, the setup. And I got the team to do it, and it was fun doing it. And of course, then Julie ordered banners. So you can see on this picture on your screen on the right side, order banners. And then the business owners are also putting a lot of effort and, with outdoor furniture and, items to make it look more attractive. So that's one part of the outdoor dining. The other part is also, it's a little more complex. It's the street closures. Chapter 1 wanted to do an outdoor sitting area, but it was more challenging to do it in his area because he's on 3rd and Broadway. The restaurants are on 4th Street. It's a little easier. But in his case, Julie had to request a traffic control plan that you see on your screen right now. This was created by the city engineer. Basically, it has all the details about every single piece of equipment that has to be installed, set up for this street closure to be safe. Not only do we need to have the K-rails filled with water, but also we required a lot of equipment, as you can see on this picture right here, to make the area safe. I think we did a pretty good job. JJ is very, very happy with the setup, and I don't know if you've seen it lately. He even put a floor cover and canopies and a lot of signage, and he's very, very excited. So I just want to share that with you that, we were asked to do this task, and we were very happy to do it. It's been wonderful working with Julie and other staff members. And it's great, when Julie comes up with an idea, she brings it up to different folks in City Hall. She involves the city engineer to make it happen, and it was great. I know there's discussion about doing additional street closures, and we're ready to do it. I want to share that with you.
Thank you, Jose. Okay, anything else for Jose, or that's what you got? What you got?
Exciting.
Financial report.
Financial report. Ryan, if you can show the financial report on the screen. Thank you. Our income side of the financial report is looking better than it looked during our meeting a couple of months ago. Right after the meeting, we received $6,065 from the bid funds. And then a month later, we received $11,595. To this date, we have received $39,000 from the bid funds of the projected 100 grand. So, we're halfway through the year, a little more than halfway through the year. We're basically at 40% of funding. I would assume that it's going to take a little while for us to receive the projected 100 grand, but at least the income is looking better than it was a couple months ago. On the merchants fund, we received 2 disbursements, one in January, the second one in April, and we're scheduled to receive the third disbursement in the next few days or a couple of weeks. Julie informed me that it has been approved and will just be a matter of days. So Merchants Fund will receive 25 grand. Same thing with Clean and Safe. As far as I know, there hasn't been any issues with receiving funding for this program. So, like I said, our income side is looking a little better. On the expense side, there has been a few other expenses that are not in this report, but Ryan Smoller is going to talk about it. There are some expenses that are being allocated to the OCTA funds. But so far, we're right on target to meet our budget, towards the end of the year. If you have any questions, just let me know.
This is Tish. For one, it's kind of hard to see it's really small, but is the money you mentioned, the OCTA fund, is that included in this budget?
No, it is not. It is not included in this budget. It will be a separate report that Ryan Smoller will talk about in a few minutes.
Okay, but my question on top of that, was that just given just to Downtown Inc. or was it combined with Business Council? And then why wouldn't it be included in the budget?
Well, we can definitely include it for next time, or we can email an additional report in the next few days. The reason it's not included because we cannot combine the expense report. We could do it. I mean, we can create a new one. Downtown Inc. received 100 grand this year and is scheduled to receive another 100 grand next year. The same amount, Santa Business Council is receiving exactly the same amount, 100 now and 100 more the next year.
And I think to add to that, Tish, I think the reason it's being separate is because we have to account for it separately, and the funds are allocated differently, if you will. So it's not like it's part of our overall budget in a sense. It is and it isn't, right? There's certain that money can only be sent for certain things. So I think that was the reason for it being separated. But we can definitely
to clarify. So actually, the expenditures came out of this account for OCTA fund, but then we assign them to the OCTA fund. So in a minute, I'm going to show you all the line items we pulled out of there. And then I think after you see that, definitely let's comment on how the reporting is done this time, because it is a little different this time. And then we can adjust it and make it more how you guys want to see it in the future. But I'll go through it in a second, and then you can kind of compare.
And then anything else on the financial report?
That's it.
All right, cool. Julie.
Yes.
Julie, do you have the city report?
Oh, hold on, Ryan, not yet.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So the financial report has 2 parts this time. So this is the next part.
Got it.
So,
Got it. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Oh, and this is just the financial report. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Is there any
Okay.
way you could make it larger so we? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Sorry. Did that help at all?
Yeah, it's just with the numbers, it was kind of difficult to read it.
Yeah, and I'll put the link in the chat, but you can follow along with it as a PDF. That document's available as a PDF too, because it is always really small on our screen here. Okay, so I should actually go back for a second. So meeting, we talked about the OCTA marketing fund, and we kind of went through several expenditures. We formed an ad hoc group that then went through and, we went through everything and kind of made our notes. Santa Ana Business Council took a look at this, and we've begun to operate a little bit out of the OCTA fund. So I'm going to be giving you the first report because the OCTA fund started actually April 1st. And so the first quarter is over or ended last month. And so this will be the first report being turned into OCTA, and it has the first expenditures separated out from our budget into the OCTA marketing fund. So I'll try and go through this quick, but as you guys know, the OC streetcar is a major transportation infrastructure project coming through downtown. We've been working with OCTA for a couple of years with a lot of Madeline's leadership to mitigate some of the impacts. And recently we had a big score with this partnership with the Orange County Transit Authority, giving both downtown groups $100,000 for marketing programs for the next 2 years. And so, as I just mentioned, we started seeking input. We put information in our newsletter. We wrote articles about it. We asked our different groups and associations and board members about it. We brought that back to behind the table and had our meeting here and had our ad hoc meeting. And really, for right now, I think we prioritize media creation, video, articles, content, communications, and exposure for what's happening downtown, so people are seeing and learning how to interact with downtown as things keep adjusting. We wanted to partner with the Santa Ana Business Council and the city on district identity materials like banners and share budgets whenever possible so we could go further together. And we wanted to create new ways and reasons or overlays to accessing the district, like kid friendliness, an outdoor mural museum, interactivity, music, stuff like that. So some of the marketing programs and their impact that we've been able to initiate already are the digital art walk. So at the same time that we had to shut down Art Walk, we were able to launch this giant digital production. We've done 16 hours of digital art walks since COVID started. It'll be, after this week, it'll be 20 hours. And we're gonna have our 100th artist on Art Walk, on digital Art Walk this weekend. So it's really incredible. It's been some of the most engaging posts that we have out there. Each of these digital art walks is getting thousands of viewers. And they feature our businesses in many different ways. So our businesses have been guests on the programs, like even not just art businesses like California Center for Digital Art, but also Genesis Bridal, Shavita's, Twisted Tiki making cocktails, the Frida Cinema talking about how they're existing in COVID, and Four Sheep Market. All kinds of businesses are getting featured on there. And then we were working to launch a program before COVID that was going to occur on the Calle Cuatro Plaza that Madeline had solicited. And it was like an open stage, multi-talent showcase that was going to occur with a variety of acts. And that show has since launched online with us. And it's been really incredible. Their vision for the show far surpassed even what we thought was possible. They've done probably a dozen or more performances from parklets, plazas, alleys. They did a Brahms concert in front of one of our alley murals. So it's really showing, and then the way they piece the whole show together is it's very story based. So you really feel like they're in downtown, walking around, stumbling upon these different scenes and scenarios that are very much the people and places you might encounter at a great day or weekend walking around downtown. So we're just really shocked at how amazing that this program is, and we recommend you check it out. And it's also had a whole other list of businesses involved, Shop Unlisted, El Mercado, Native Sun, and they're in the show. The performances are happening in front of their signs. So it's really exciting. So on the right side of this slide, you see sort of how the expenses are starting to shake out with the OCTA fund. And it was definitely a slow start. This period started April 1st, but we really didn't get the money in the bank, I think, till the 30th of April. And it was a very conservative period as we didn't know what was really going on. So we really met in May to talk about this first time. And so we've really slowly eased into the expenditures. And I think we've spent about $5,000 at this point, not very much. But where we have made a lot of progress is the allocation process. So in the team, we looked at over $100,000 of ideas here at the board meeting and then in the ad hoc, and we approved some of the ideas. A lot of the ideas we actually were able to figure out ways to get the expenses way down and still execute them. So that's what's really exciting, is we're pricing things out. And then as we go along, we're finding ways to accomplish things at less cost. But what it does is give us more money to allocate. So we think we're about 50% allocated on projects that are being determined, priced out, and moving forward right now. They're not necessarily solidified and paid for, but those are things that we know that we're working on. We know there's still a lot of money left to allocate as well. So this will be a continuing process with our feedback loop with you guys on how money gets allocated. And we definitely talked about revving this up, as we move along. We're working on a bunch of in those allocation categories. A bunch of the things that we're working on is, I mentioned, the district branding. So that is principally a street pole banner project along First Street, although the opportunity to maybe do First Street, Main, and maybe even more has come up. So, the pricing on that is pretty affordable, and SABC is interested in sharing the cost. There's also large fence banners that we've talked about on First Street and possibly on the Swinterton lot. We've reduced the size of those so that they're a little more affordable. And then additionally, there's these DTSA 3D signs, which, Ryan, do you want to talk about those here for just a
Sure.
second?
So yeah, so basically, I was in Cabo San Lucas last year, and I noticed this kind of, I would call it a maybe 8 by 8 foot sign that said Cabo, CABO, and big, again, maybe 6 foot high lettering. And I saw people taking pictures around it, and it was a kind of a cool branding thing. And then I started to look at other places and kind of started to think back. And on a lot of my travels, I've noticed in Amsterdam and Barcelona and some other places, they have these kind of oversized signage, if you will. And so we actually recently built one at 4th Street Market. It says 4SM. It's in the front of the market. And we've had a lot of success with people taking pictures around it, good buzz, and, I think publicity around it. And so the idea was to possibly build a few of these around downtown with DTSA, possibly at Plaza Calle Cuatro, possibly at the 2nd Street Promenade, and then maybe 2 other ones strategically located on the peripheral of downtown, maybe one towards the Civic Center, one towards First Street. We need to kind of figure it out. But the idea would be is to kind of just draw attention to downtown. And we were able to build these relatively affordably. I think we talked about possibly about $2,000 to $2,500 per sign installed. And SABC is looking to possibly split that with us. So in essence, if we can put up, call it $5,000 per group, we can build 4 of these around downtown. And we believe that the PR, the signage, the attention it brings, and then again, the social media aspect is big. And then on top of that, you can actually hire artists to paint them and get creative on that as well. So I think, in my humble opinion, it's a no-brainer. I think for the money, you're not going to get a better bang for your buck. And again, I think part of our goal and strategy here is to improve signage and visibility and kind of let people know that downtown's even here. And so those signs can help affect that. So that's kind of my spiel on it, but I'd like to hear what other people think. But again, we've had a lot of success at 4th Street Market with it, and I've noticed it's been successful other places. So it was just a kind of a idea that was not that expensive that we felt could have a pretty big impact.
What about tagging?
I guess
I mean, we're not Amsterdam or Barcelona, and I think
Sure.
the people in the area might still do tagging on that.
We've had ours now up for, call it, probably 3 weeks or a month, and have had no issues. I can't say that it wouldn't be tagged, but I could also say that, I mean, the artwork on it is really not artwork. It's more like painting, like designs or patterns. So it's a little different. I mean, could someone tag it? I guess they could, but it's almost like at some point, maybe one of the murals is a bunch of graffiti art for the actual sign. I don't know if it takes away that much from it. And I guess, yeah, we can worry about that. And that's obviously a concern, but I would not do it because of it. I don't think it's that big a concern, I guess is my point, but maybe I'm wrong. I hope not. Any other concerns or questions on that?
There might be an option to wrap it with anti film.
There you go.
Oh, excellent.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what Julie said.
It's an anti-graffiti film, so it's kind of like
Oh.
this waxy material where the paint doesn't stick, or it can be wiped off.
Okay, great, thank you.
Right.
Awesome. And then I wanted to point out as well, so with the banner project, so the last time we did street pole banners was the Artist Village project, and that was to replace the 17-year-old banners that were there at that time, sort of fading into dust. And we did it as a very open participatory project where we had the community submit, we printed 30 different artist banners. And in that process, actually Gene had submitted with his proposal, Gene Jimenez, really just a whole complete vision for how a banner project could be implemented. And so with this round of banner projects, I asked if he would, support us and bring back that energy and effort. And really excited to be partnering with him on this because like his family has been in the building and creating of the urban fabric of Santa Ana for 100 years or last 50 years. And so, Gene, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about how you're approaching the banners?
Yeah, my grandfather actually came here in 1906, or my great grandfather, and so a lot of that history and a lot of that family orientation. I remember, growing up here, I couldn't go, 10 blocks in any one direction without running into 5 cousins, and I probably still can't. And so a lot of that family history and fabric actually goes into my art, and the images that Ryan showed with some of the sample banners so far are from that series of my history, coming from Mexico, and actually the one on the far left, that's actually my great grandfather standing in front of his fruit truck. And you can't see it because it's kind of been cropped off, but this particular banner is actually 16 feet long, or painting is 16 feet long by, I think, 6 feet high. And it actually chops down pretty good because there's various figures, recalling historical Hispanic backgrounds, but also wanted to bring some contemporary themes, like the transformational, images of butterflies and whatnot. And I think I didn't, this was submitted with 3 other, variations. I didn't want to get, all nepotism about, hey, these are my, let's put up my art. At the same time, I did want to honor, the Hispanic culture that is, alive and well in Santa Ana, and that has helped develop it, and it really has kind of developed a culture of its own, which is what I think, Santa Ana is about. When you come here, but young artists always come and ask me, hey, should I go to Santa Ana? I'm like, if you want to work your ass off, if you want to become a great artist and you want to expect nothing and do it all yourself and learn how to live and learn how to, make a living. Yeah. If you're looking for a handout, no, don't come here. If you're looking to not work or, be, coddled and whatnot, no, this is a place where you come to work, you learn how to work and survive. And it takes a lot of self-generation to come to Santa Ana, which is what I love about it, because that's exactly what, Spurgeon, when he climbed that tree, they had to work from day one, and people have been working since day one. So that's really kind of the theme about it, of people coming and just bringing their culture with them, as well as, creating something from nothing. So that's really what's behind it right now. And I have some other images that are going to be kind of added to this. There's other animals and things like that can thing, but that was kind of like okay, let's see if that goes, and if people like that, then we can start expanding on that theme. But that particular mural, there's 4 people in that mural, or 5 people. My great grandfather's one. Standing next to him, who's not in the shot yet, is my great grandmother, who's actually holding the baby that she came in with when she was 13 years old. It was different back then. But the baby she's holding that they came over the border with was my Uncle Gene, who I am named after. and they came over and it cost them 6 cents for both of their green cards, so 3 cents each. So yeah, that's what it's about, and like I said, a lot more symbolism and things that people can start to relate. You know, I think as we go forward, there's going to be a lot of symbolic things culturally that we can grab onto. You know, not only for the city but people in the culture as well. So, oh, you're muted, Ryan.
Thanks, Gene. So as he said, there's a couple different designs floating around. If you want to get involved in the process, just hit me or Gene up and we'll get you involved. And I put this one up because it's getting a lot of positive reaction from different people. So we'd love to get more input and move forward on that. Okay, I'm going to go back because there's still so much to go through. But so beyond the district branding, we're working on more of these multi-platform programs. So this is where we're doing, there might be an online streaming component, there might be a live performance component of an event, there might be workshop kits dropped off at businesses. So we're really working on developing a very robust internet or virtual and real place connection through all these different new types of marketing programs. So you'll see and hear a lot more about that. And then with our social media marketing, you know, we've been able to expand our marketing team with the OCTA fund and really rely on a few more people. And now there's 4 of us reviewing our social media every week. And there's been vast improvements. There's more diversity on the team. There's better representation of, you know, retail, and there's a variety of news. There's been a lot of aggregating of posts. So instead of like, here's a cocktail, it's here's the 5 cocktails you need to know about right now, and you're swiping through. And that content is performing 10 to 20 times better than what we were doing. So we're really excited because we know our social media is one of our sharpest swords, and it's definitely getting a lot stronger.
Just to piggyback that, I just want to reiterate Ryan's point. It's getting a lot stronger, and I've noticed it personally. And I think that the way it's being done and the format it's being done is, again, more inclusive to more operators and more businesses, but also, again, showing how much really is downtown. I think it's a nice way to highlight what we're doing. So just want to commend the team for that. Thank you.
Yeah, major shout out to the social team. And then one other idea that had been presented was an ambassador program through Clean and Safe. And we talked in our ad hoc committee meeting about some different ways through marketing and training that we could probably execute that very simply. We're working on a really interesting DTSA mural map. That was something that Ryan was really passionate about. Is we have all these great outdoor murals, and walking around and enjoying them is a great COVID safe activity. And so we've been trying to get something priced that we could affordably do, but what we're really working on right now with it is this really interesting concept we'll talk more about, where you put your phone over a plaque, and then it's a recording of the artist calls you and tells you about the mural. So it's really cool. And the outdoor dining and retail program, which Jose has talked about, it's going to be touched upon several more times, is becoming a very important lifeline for downtown, and something that is going to become a bigger part of probably the OCTA funding. So in this report, which this has to be given to OCTA, we took all the expenditures out of our, or the line items out of our typical report and reported those here. And then we had some categorical reporting here. But that was the methodology for this round. So if there's feedback on that, it's definitely welcome, because this was the first time that we've really reported these funds.
No, Ryan's Tish. I like the idea that the way that you reported it. It looks more like an audit report in a sense, more than a financial report.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure what OCTA is looking for. So personally, I think this was good because it's more of a visual instead of just numbers. So hopefully they will like it. So it's a different way to do a financial report. So I like it.
Okay, cool. And then you mentioned also during Clean and Safe, we forgot to go to PD. So Ryan, can we go back to Clean and Safe after this and do PD report?
Sure.
Okay.
Is Robert on? Is here or no?
Rick is here.
Oh,
Rick,
perfect.
You're on mute. Rick, you're on mute.
There we go. I'm filling in for Robert this
Awesome.
morning.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So anything to report?
For the most part, the downtown, I don't know if you guys noticed, I mean, we've been cleaning it up for the most part. I've seen more traffic coming through. I've noticed that there's a lot more outsiders that are coming through to the downtown. I would like to think that my team is definitely doing a good job out there, keeping most of the transients away, the taggers. We've seen a decline in taggers. I'm not sure if you guys got the report on the 4th of July where there was a tagger in the downtown who had 37 spray cans and over 1,900 grams of marijuana and a replica handgun. So, and he's all part of the Antifa movement. So we saw a lot of graffiti indicia inside his vehicle. He's part of the NWO crew. So, I mean, that was a good bust because he was about to go to town and make downtown a war zone. So that was good. On the 4th of July, we were able to deter that. And for the most part, I mean, we're just trying to stay ahead of the curve as far as keeping the transients out and the taggers out.
Right.
Yeah, I have a question. Because I have not seen very many protests going on, but yet I still see some of the businesses boarded up. Have you heard any buzz or anything about?
From the intel that I've gathered, we haven't had any protests specifically targeted in the downtown lately. It's more like Bristol McFadden or on the north side of the city. So as far as the board up, I mean, it's really on the business owner if they feel that they need to keep it boarded up. But in my opinion, I feel like it's not a necessity at this point. Like I said, most of the areas that are being targeted right now are outside of the downtown. So it's really going to depend on the business owner if they feel comfortable or not to take their boards down.
And just so everyone's aware, I've spoken to several business owners that do have boards up still. I've tried to delicately encourage them to take the boards down, provided they feel it's okay to do so.
Yeah.
And again, I personally like to reiterate, I don't see an immediate threat downtown unless there's something more to the story or something specific. So again, I can't force my tenants to take their boards down, but I've encouraged and some have done so reluctantly, and some are going to start doing so in the next few days. I think next week several of my tenants are going to reopening. So hopefully that'll be a domino effect for others as well. But you know, it's very delicate, obviously, and you don't want to tell someone to take their boards down and then they get broken into as well. So it's you know,
Exactly.
you gotta be careful about that.
And I just wanted
Exactly.
to add that some of the business owners, you know, there's one in particular that I have in mind that is huge. It costs them money to remove those boards, just as it costs them money to install it. So they may not have the funds for it. And also some of them may be anticipating more protests as we get closer to November for election, because that's when we're gonna have another issue again.
Sure. Well, a few things. One is if people are waiting until November, we got a problem.
I know.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
too long not to wait. Secondarily, and this is, I don't know if this is true or not, but I did hear a rumor that Mike Harrow is willing to pay for anyone to take their boards down.
Really?
That's what I was told. If anyone really legitimately cannot afford to do so, let me know, and I'm happy to reach out to Mike and see if that offer is still out there. But that was what I was told in the past. So it obviously is not the best look for downtown, and it's hard to encourage people to come shop and spend money and everything else if you have half your town, you know, not open. So
Exactly. And not only that, you know, for as a department here, downtown's a huge priority for us. We know that it's good for the city. So, I mean, we're going to do whatever it takes to protect the downtown, regardless of what protest is going on. So if you could just reassure the business owners that downtown is a priority for us, that's the reason why we're there. And even during the protests, we still had a specific team assigned to the downtown district. to make sure that, none of the business got vandalized.
Yes, and you
We really-
guys did a
really
great
appreciate that.
job
Thank you.
too.
Yes, you did a really great job. Rick, can I ask what the acronym NWO stands for?
It's a New World Order.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
so it's like it's a tagging crew. They're kind of all over, but this particular tagger, he's also part of the Antifa movement. I saw a lot of anti-police graffiti indicia in his vehicle as well. So he's all part of that movement. So it was, and it's funny because that day on the 4th of July, the downtown was like a ghost town.
It
And,
was.
and so I'm like, if anybody's gonna hit the downtown, it'd be today. So we just did our random patrol checks, and we know the areas that they like to hit, and we caught them in the act. And so it was a good bust that day.
Good job.
Great job.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I also noticed that there is a lot more traffic, pedestrian traffic
Yes.
downtown. And the last time I went walking during the day, I was surprised by how many people were there. So
Yeah.
whatever's happening and why people are coming, I think it's great.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like the fact that we're constantly on the transients, keeping them outside of downtown. I know for myself, I have them take an alternative route. I encourage them to go a different route outside of the downtown, because I know if I'm a patron or if I'm going to be eating in downtown, the last thing you want to have is someone interrupting your food, or, you know what I mean, with the chaos that they like to bring with them, or the extra baggage. So I know in order to keep the downtown clean, I know from, being a business owner myself, you like to keep it clean. When people see cleanliness, they want to come to your business. So I try to definitely stay on top of that.
Rick, this is more of a question and a request, I think, at the same time. There's a walkway that runs from Spurgeon Street to Main Street between the lofts. It's just like a half block north of First. So it goes from Main to Spurgeon, like behind the Rite Aid, and kind of connects the Food for Less Plaza to Main Street. It's become a public restroom. And I know that several of the residents who live on the area between Spurgeon and Bush Street, their cameras are capturing a lot of activity. Let's just say activity. But it's kind of becoming unhealthy in a lot of ways. Is there anything that we could do about that?
I mean, we could do extra patrol checks in that area. But what I would recommend is to fence it off and to have some type of key card or access in order to get through that passageway, because like you were saying, it's a main corridor for a lot of these transients to get to the Food for Less. And unless if it's blocked off or you have an access key card, you're constantly going to have those problems. I feel like, so if you were able to put that up as a deterrent, I mean, that would definitely help. But on our end, all we could do is do extra patrol checks in those areas. But if you really want to eliminate the problem, I would suggest getting that fenced off and getting a key card access.
Yeah, that's what the residents are trying to convince the HOA about right now.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
It sounds like a special assessment.
Bill, if you would like us, either Nestor or myself, to talk about the difference of how our gates made a change in our courtyard, it's been
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we would go do that.
It's not that expensive. It's not that expensive. We know someone that can do it. But it's been so clean. No drug paraphernalia.
No sex.
Using the bathroom. But there have been, from my understanding, been a couple of people that jumped the fence and landed on their backs and stuff, and they ended up taking off. So.
Yeah, so right now I do have a couple of individuals who are storing like bike parts, and they come back and get it, and they jump the fence, and they're breaking the fence, so I am repairing that. But I'm also putting spikes on top of the fence so that they can't jump the fence.
Okay.
As long as it's tasteful, it looks okay, and it adds to the value of the association, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot more secure.
Yeah, it's there's HOA issues with it because those of us who live on the walkway want it, and those who don't. So
How long did it take us, Yvonne, to get the HOA to get it approved? A while, right?
11 months.
Okay.
11 months. It was a long, long fight. And of course, there are those that do not benefit from it. But overall, what the benefit is that it maintains the property value for everyone.
And the quality of life, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Robert, I had a question for you, kind of circling back to, these merchants that are reluctant to take down the boards. My anecdotal information, and I just wanted to get some kind of real information from you, is that, during this whole time since all the protests really started, not just downtown, but all over the country, it seemed that downtown Santa Ana had very little actual property damage. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah, it's very minimal, if any. From what I recall, we didn't have any property damage in the downtown. It was more Bristol McFadden, where they had that Smart and Final vandalized.
Right. Knew about the Smart and Final.
Yeah.
So maybe that would help, just that kind of factual information, as we're talking with some of these other folks that are still scared, is like, guys, it just didn't happen down here, and it didn't happen because of the extra police presence, and, the fact that we're really focused on making sure that nothing happens here. So,
Yeah, I mean, if there's a way where we could set up a meeting with these business owners that have their boards up, I'd be more than willing to speak with them face to face and give them the facts.
Yeah, facts are really important in situations like that. Maybe that would help Ryan with some of your guys. Thank you.
That's a good idea.
No problem.
Ryan, you want to go to city report?
Julie, city report.
That's me. So thank you so much to the team for tremendous work. I went and I accompanied Sergio and I helped him put the banners on the pedestrian rails. I wasn't prepared at all. I was wearing heels, professional clothes, I was sweating. But that little task was quite a bit of work, and the exposure to touching equipment and street, and so a really big thank you to Jose Romo, and because they're just doing exceptional. They just do whatever, and I am very grateful for that team. So the food islands have been going well, and there's conversation about additional reservation of parking spaces. We'll call them islands, where the bridal shop will be able to bring out their merchandise onto the parking spaces. And so Senate Council and I will be walking the downtown today. I talk to the different businesses to merge and figure out spaces so we can activate the island. The newscaster from Telemundo would cover that story as soon as we have it. So we'll get a coverage on that. And then the city of Santa Ana is working on an executive order to allow for outdoor functions for barbershops. We're leaning towards not having to operate on sidewalk space because of the potential contamination with hair or products to other businesses, but we are looking to operate within parking, and then just giving them some guidance on that. So that's coming. I do want to just put on my little government hat for everybody, spread the word. License fees are due. City did have an automatic 90-day extension, but that came to expiration. That's coming to an expiration, I believe, this month. March, April, May, June. Yes, this month, or yeah. So people need to start paying for their business license fees, and then the bid fee need assistance setting up a payment plan for that payment plan. I'm continuing to learn the operations and the fiscal impact for Fund 27. That is the meters and the parking garages. It's been great to have the 2-hour free parking because people are taking advantage of that and people are parking in the structure and they're kind of hanging out in the downtown a little bit longer. But on the financial side, it's been a really big hit. I'll give you an example. Last year, we made about 150,000 in revenue for the parking garages, the 4. And this year we're at, I want to say 68,000. So it's a huge hit. I mean, it's coupled with the 2-hour free grace period and also COVID. So it's not apples to apples this time around. However, we'll have to start considering some alternatives to generate additional revenue in order to sustain the operations in the downtown. So I wanted to ask for some feedback with regard to overnight parking. This is something that I've wanted to execute for quite some time, but there's a safety, security concern with overnight parking. But the way to mitigate that is to hire additional security guards. But overnight parking could be something that we could present. From what I understand, there is a need for overnight parking. And of course, it would come at a cost. We would do like a monthly parking pass for overnight parking. So if you can give that some thought and give me your feedback whenever you get a chance, or if you have any burnings and desire to say anything about that now, I'd appreciate your feedback.
Julie, I think that immediate feedback is I think people who live downtown would be very interested because parking is an issue, and especially overnight parking, and if something is happening, like they're paving your alleyway or something like that, you're literally like, right now your choices are park illegally or park illegally. And so I think it is very much needed, and as long as the price is competitive with the lots, I think you'll be good.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
Julie,
that.
Tish here. I have a question regarding because you mentioned added security. So parking is really needed downtown, not just by the, especially overnight. And I live, Flower and 3rd and Flower, and people are having to park way down there as well. But maybe the fee can also include for added security. I mean, if you really want to park there overnight, I mean, I'm not saying charge a lot, but make sure that you said, this fee will also include to add security to the parking or something like that, because it needs to be done.
Yeah. That's something I'm exploring, even parking in the metered stalls overnight, because right now it's not allowed. But we have to kind of be innovative and think outside the box. These rules were applied 20 years ago, so it's time to kind of rethink.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate it. And I'll continue to gather more feedback as we start to form some sort of proposal for our bosses so that they can approve. Ultimately, this will have to go to the city council for approval.
Okay, I'd like to talk to you more about this afterwards,
Okay.
especially regarding the parking meters. That would be, maybe afterwards or whenever it's convenient for you. Thank you.
I just put enough. Thank you. The last thing I want to say is that I've been boots on the ground in the downtown 100% more intentionally from the beginning of January through now. I've been able to establish so many more relationships and phone numbers, and just getting in contact with so many folks. And the downtown, although right now there's so much construction and that kind of generates an immediate resistance, it's so exciting to see, the construction at 4th Street Market. They're installing a bike lane on 5th Street. The streetcar, yes, it's 2 more years of construction, but that's gonna provide so much more new eyes and ears and people and experiences in the downtown. So we just have to embrace and be optimistic. I always try my best to be optimistic and just think for the better. And I'm very grateful for the team and for all of your guys' help and support throughout this time. And by all means, please always share my name and my phone number to whoever in the downtown or citywide. I'm happy to provide assistance. There's still so many like questions with businesses like, well, where do I get help? I don't know what EDD is doing. I don't know about this grant. Or sometimes they get caught into a web of fraud. And I'm that type of person that will call that number and say, who are you? Stop messing with our businesses and report them accordingly. But I just want to say things are going to get better. They have to, they will. And thank you so much for giving me this little chance to bring that update, Ryan.
Julie, could you mention, you used to have a strategic pot of money for downtown that was really well utilized over for the last few years. Could you kind of update them on what's changed with that as well? And if there's anything we can do to help?
Yeah. So the short answer is I don't have any extra funds this year. I have this really nice, huge budget that's like 100 line items. And there's a lot of hands in this cookie jar. And this year, because funds are so limited and the revenue is just so short, it's going to be my mission to basically cut out all these unnecessary expenses and figure out how to be a lot more conservative and intentional about the use of the funds. So for sure, this year will be a hard year for the downtown parking revenue and the meter revenue because it used to generate millions, and we started the year in the negative by almost 500,000. So not only do I have to kind of figure out how to make that balance, but then I have to also figure out how to generate additional revenue. And so, yeah, long story short, I don't have any extra funds for sponsorships, for support, for, the only thing that I could do is leverage any in-house resources, traffic control plans, merging, identifying departments, figuring out those leveraging. And I tend to be frugal about that and good at that. So that's the grim story, but it's reality, and we'll make it through. That's it. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, Ryan, you're on mute.
I just realized that. Sorry, guys. Do you have anything else to add, Ryan?
Not to city report. I can go to consultant report if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to go quick here through this. Okay. So it's been a wild quarter. There's a lot going on. As Julie mentioned, it's a lot about communication, both talking to businesses, talking to, answering the phones, the emails, all the opportunities that are coming in, connecting news and information as it comes into everybody through our, email blasts, our amplified social media, one-on-one outreach and feedback. The team has been very much in touch and handing off issues and opportunities and working on challenges together. So it's been a great time of collaboration between PD, Clean and Safe, Downtown Inc., SABC, and an unprecedented partnership with the city, and so many more doors and open and communication connections working. As we've mentioned a couple times, we've really worked especially this last month, on expanding our portfolio of multi-platform events. We've been producing the Art Walk. We've blown that into almost every Saturday now, having content that's connected to what's happening on the ground, sharing news, sharing what downtown looks like, how to visit downtown, really modeling all of the behavior that we're talking and hoping that the public and that the businesses will continue to operate in. The Art Walk, it's our 5th show this Saturday with our 100th guest. We were live on the 4th of July. We've had tons of businesses participate. The next, I believe tomorrow, workshop art kits are going to be distributed to about 10 businesses. And then families are going to be told, you know, you can go to those businesses, pick up your art workshop kits, and then do your workshop from home. So we're interested in trying that. These were some of the artists featured that SABC's quarterly bid report had a spread on. This is the open stage show that I've mentioned where they're doing the performances downtown. Jose's been printing the posters and putting them up around downtown so that it feels like there's life and things are still going on as much as possible, and that our downtown culture and vibe is still very much alive and centered here. As we've talked about quite a bit, the food retail islands are a huge lifeline and are expanding greatly. We really, as a city, should be proud of ourselves, and as a downtown is one of the really first cities to get this out and to do it so well. A lot of different cities have taken the wrong turns on this. We've been in touch with a lot of different cities. For example, in Florida, they spent $30,000 in West Palm Beach to set up all this rental equipment. And then first weekend was the protest, and they had to spend all that money to remove it and then bring it back out again. So we really, we're very lucky, smart, and in touch, I think, constantly on building out all these parklets. And this has become a very much more a national phenomenon. I'm not sure if you see the pictures from everywhere from Boston and New York and Philadelphia, but we're watching and seeing this evolve. I think this is one of our latest ones with Mix on the left. And then there was an Onion article yesterday of LA putting dining along the 110 freeway or 101 freeway. And it's just amazing. I think, Julie, your last count was 22 parklets. And then, as we mentioned, SABC has found maybe up to 16 retailers who are interested in participating as well. So that program is expanding and is a huge lifeline for downtown. As we talked about, we've expanded the marketing team. So Maria, the hot tortilla, who really came on to help us as a host for the Art Walk, she's does marketing and communications for an Anaheim councilman and I think the Orange County Water District or something like that. And so she has incredible systems, knowledge, partnerships, relationships. She's from Santa Ana. And we really heard about her from people telling us that they heard about us through her page. And so she's become a full-fledged partner and really upping our game. And then Brianna, who was our intern for the last 4 months, we onboarded her to do graphics, articles, and really support. She's kind of a logistical genius too. And then we got a new intern, Abraham Gomez, who's written some articles for us and is just graduated in political science and grew up in Santa Ana, right around the corner from downtown. Then also, I don't know if you recall, but last time we talked about that I joined the International Downtown Association's Emerging Leaders Fellowship. And so that leaders program, the education component occurred. And so now I'm in a cohort, or downtown is in a cohort with 5 other downtowns. And we meet regularly and are able to talk about what's going on cross city. So it's really amazing because we'll say, oh, well, how do you onboard board members Atlanta, Georgia, downtown Atlanta, and then they just hand you over all their documents. So there's an incredible amount of trust with this group of people, and we're really sharing and comparing. If we want to try and do something, we have 5 other downtowns that we can just check right in with, get their documents, and look at. So this has been really an incredible thing as it's ever emerging. We talked about the talking murals. That's going to be, right now what we're doing is working with the artists to get their recordings. So if you are close with any artists who have a mural downtown, please get them in touch with me, because it's really, that's going to be the most difficult part of the process, is getting the artist to record the message. Other than that, it's very easy for us. As we talked about the big branding project, this is really exciting and moving forward at a steady clip. And yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, president support. I only have a few things. One, or actually really one thing. That's mainly I want to thank, Ryan and especially Julie. The last few weeks and the last few months has been very challenging, obviously, for all of us, and especially for our merchants downtown. And let's just say that Julie's gone to bat, be above and beyond what I would say any other downtown liaison has ever done for us. She's not afraid to speak her mind. She's not afraid to call people to task, and again, in a nice way, but she's making sure that people are keeping them on their toes, I guess is the best way to say it. And we're in a very challenging time right now where there's not always the right answer or an easy answer or even what the right answer should or shouldn't be. And I think Julie's been very open to pushing the envelope, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but in a way of being collaborative and being open-minded to ideas and input and suggestions. And what is this city doing? Well, why can't we do that? Or what does this person do? Why don't we think about that? So I just want to thank Julie, and again, I want to thank Ryan as well. But this has been a tough time for everybody, and I want them to know that their efforts are not going unnoticed. So thank you very much for your guys' time and effort. And it's going to be a challenging year, that's for sure. So I think the more we can all kind of keep in touch, communicate, collaborate. If you have ideas, we want to hear them. There's no strategy or game plan how to do this, right? We're all learning as we go. We're all adapting as we go. And I think that applies to all of us and all our businesses. So again, we want your input. We want your ideas. You might see something online. You might see something in some city you're traveling to, whatever it may be, let us know, because we want to try to, pull best practices from everywhere and implement them downtown. And that's what we're going to try to do. So that's kind of my only thing I have to say right now. We do have one thing we need to vote on. We are requesting a $5,000 allotment for additional equipment and barricades from the OCTA fund for our downtown merchants. We continue to get additional requests for outdoor dining, outdoor retail. SABC has agreed to add another $5,000 or match our $5,000, assuming they approve it. So we have $10,000 for more barricades. And the idea, not only would this be helpful short-term with COVID, but long-term, it would enable us to not only be able to put on events at a much lower cost because we'll have the equipment to do so, but it might also become and this is obviously secondary, but also might become a viable rental business, because we do have a fair amount of equipment now that we might be able to rent out for other people in the city, other people downtown and what have you. So I highly recommend this proposal, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And again, based on kind of the normal downtown, most of our businesses really can't be open or having challenges being open, or having challenges getting people inside their doors, or getting people to know they're even open and what have you. So I think based on the circumstances, I think this is a very good idea and very necessary idea. And again, to reiterate, Julie and the city have already purchased additional stuff on top of what we're asking for this allotment. So it's almost like I feel like it's a partnership where they've put up some things and now we're asking for us to put some things up. And again, SABC would match it. And I think it's a need. So hopefully there's support from the board, but I want to open it up if anyone has any questions or concerns. And if not, we can go to a vote. Yes, Tish.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, but I also, what about storage? Where are they being kept?
City yard.
The
Julie,
city, the ones that we will be purchasing will be kept at the city yard?
They won't be at the city yard. They'll be in a storage cage in one of the parking structures in downtown. So they're very accessible to the clean and safe team or to anybody that has a reservation for it.
Okay, and so then that's obviously it's a secure area. I can't imagine somebody walking away with it, but I've seen and heard worse, so just curious.
There is a little bit of a concern because we've had 2 break-ins in that storage, or attempts to break in. But it gets the clean and safe and the security guards are on it. They see what the damage is, but nobody has been successful in actually taking items out. They've only damaged the fence, which has been repaired.
Thank you.
I would second that motion.
Any other comments before a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Our motion passes. Thank you all. Again, I think this is a necessary and important addition to what we're already doing in the downtown, and hopefully this will allow people to survive. I mean, is the reality. Ryan, do you have anything else to add? That's all I really have.
Well, just with a few more minutes, I'm wondering, Julie, do you want to open up the conversation of maybe down the line street closures and a temperature check on that?
Yes, thank you. So I did get Alvin, the Copper Door, reached out to me, and JJ already has his food island set up, and then Ross reached out to me as well, and they basically asked if we could close down the 3rd Street. It's something that Public Works was not okay doing, but as Ryan had mentioned earlier, I always try to push the envelope. So what I could do is revisit that 3rd Street closure. Ryan Smolar, you had presented this idea a long time ago, and then that's what I had presented to Public Works, but they said, no, you can't close the whole street for over a month. So the alternative would be to close 3rd Street Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I would need the assistance from the business owners to help move and situate the water-filled barricades each weekend. Because it's becoming an overbearing task for the clean and safe team. Their primary job is to clean, sanitize, pick up trash and debris, be eyes and ears. And so when we pull them away from that task and ask them to do street closures on a regular basis, it's a big strain. So 3rd Street is something that we're going to consider closing now that there's three businesses, 3 restaurants that are interested. So now that you guys have approved this purchase or the funds for the purchase of the equipment, I think we're going to be able to move forward with that and closing the 3rd Street just on the weekends. And then on 4th Street, the temperature has been that some people really want the street closed, and then other businesses do not want the street closed at all, because their businesses consist of their customers coming in for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, handling some transactions, and then leaving. So they depend on that front parking spaces on 4th Street. So again, the alternative, the happy medium there would be to close 2 blocks. So let's say on 4th Street from French to Spur, and close those 2 blocks for the weekend only. So I'll have to kind of strategize and figure out how to do that with Clean and Safe or with the businesses. I think that they'll be willing to help out because it's not too complicated, and it's for their benefit.
Exactly.
And then on the other side of 4th Street, like the west end, I'm still working through that. I think Madeline, Nina, and Claudia and we're gonna get a better pulse for that this day at 11. We're gonna do walkthroughs. We might just have to test it out and see how it goes. We might be very successful with retail islands if we don't have street closures. But for Labor Day, just saying, we should close the whole street for Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Activate everyone and everything, and apply social distance and bring out.
That's enough time to plan something too, a month in advance.
Right. Yeah. So that just came up yesterday. So Ryan Solar and Madeline, I'll work with you guys to figure out something for Labor Day.
Great. Unfortunately, guys, I have to run to another meeting, so I'll let Ryan take over this. But again, thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. Everyone be well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Bye.
I have a question, Julie, since you brought up social distancing, because there's a Facebook page called Safe Spaces, and some of they post a lot of restaurants and places that are not considered safe because of the social distancing. Chapter 1 has been on there more than once. And there's been a couple of others as well. And what are we doing about it? I mean, I complained one Sunday, early Sunday morning to the police regarding the church that is open and playing their drums loudly at 7:30 in the morning. And they did nothing. They said they could do nothing about it. So what are we doing about the social distancing issue?
Yeah, thank you. I did call the Orange County Healthcare Agency yesterday, and I asked them, what level of enforcement do you have? And she said that they basically call or email or send a letter to the business reminding them that they should be following social distance protocols, outdoor dining setup, and then reminding them if they, should be open or closed. But that's it. That's the level of enforcement that they have. The other thing is that the police department doesn't have, any hardcore directive to close down businesses if they're not upholding social distancing. That hasn't come down from the state. That's not something that the city has, said go for it. The only time that the police can shut down or, get themselves involved in private property is if it warrants their presence, right? If there's probable cause or if there's an emergency or criminal activity or something along those lines. I think Ricky's still on, so maybe he can chime in, but it's a self-check approach, Tish. Everybody needs to check themselves. So whenever I get complaints about, hey, this restaurant's not doing what they should be doing, or this business is open, I call them and I remind them as well. And I basically say, don't want to risk your license. You don't want to risk your permits. Do your best to do social distancing, limit how many people you have in your, in your space, etc., and kind of give them the nice approach.
Okay. So still basically you can't do anything about it.
It's hard, yeah. It's hard to do any real teeth enforcement. And then the other component is that, like, for example, I'm a family of 6. So no matter where I go, if I roll with all 6 of us, it looks like a party. Sometimes perception that it looks like a big party and that they're like different people, but it's all the household. So it's one of those fine lines, I guess. People just need to do their part to prevent the spread of COVID.
So I know this sounds really awful to just say, but with the city and Downtown Inc. and the SBC providing the barricades and all that, is there anything there that, like, yes, if you follow these protocols, you can use these barricades, and if you don't follow the protocols, the barricades may be not accessible to you. Is there anything there?
I was thinking the same thing. I just didn't say it out loud, Bill. Thank you.
I could chime in a little bit on the enforcement side. Like Julie was saying, there's no directive, from the chief or from the state for us to start enforcing like the mass police and stuff like that, as far as keeping the social distancing, until there's an actual directive and we're going to be taking people to jail for that. It's not going to happen. And it's hard to, you could only recommend and tell them, hey, you guys are a little bit close. But at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. Unfortunately, all we can do is just be the presence there and tell them, hey, you guys are a little bit close. But as far as enforcing anything, they're not telling us to enforce anything with the mask or anything with the social distancing right now.
I think that the other thing too, a little bit of a concern is on 3rd and 4th Street. Sometimes if you're walking on the sidewalk and you don't really quite see what's going on, in front of you with the dining area, there's some like Chapter 1, for instance, you can't walk on the sidewalk by Chapter 1 and remain socially distanced from other people. And part of it's the setup, with their own patio and then with the thing in the street. But I'm just wondering if maybe there could be some signage on the sidewalk that just kind of indicates that you're now entering a dining area, that sort of thing. So that you go, oh yeah, maybe I'll go around the block instead.
That's why now I walk across the street from them. I don't walk through that, because that's my route is 3rd Street. But it's just kind of you know, I'm doing everything I possibly can to stay safe, and I have not done any dining at restaurants at all since this whole thing. But it just, you know, I would love to be able to sit outside, but seeing that the masks don't bother me so much because I know that people are eating and drinking, and it's kind of hard to wear a mask when you're doing that. But when you see the people standing at the bar, and you know that many of them are not, you know, together, you know, like your tribe, but it's, you know, that's the issue. Those are the things that are being reported, are the people that are just inside the restaurant and standing at the bars, and just, you know, that's the part that's
I mean,
that's all I'm going to say about it. But
yeah, what I've heard some individuals doing is reporting them to the health and safety for the state. And then what they'll do is they'll send them a notification and let them know and reinforce the social distancing.
yeah, thank you. I know there's not much that can be done, but
Yeah,
anyway.
it's tough.
Okay, and Ryan, just one other quick thing about the ambassador program that you were talking about. You know, is every time I'm walking, I always see people, you know, looking at their phone, you know, kind of like, oh, and then they're stopping and turning around because they can't find something. And it's really, and you can't always find somebody, the clean and safe people, because they're, you know, at another place. They're not going to be standing right there waiting for somebody. But it would be kind of nice to see some kind of signage, you know, like chapter 1 this way, or Native Son that way, or, you know, kind of like little arrows throughout downtown with different restaurants or businesses names. It just, because I'm always saying, you know, you guys looking, you know, you look lost, you know, can I help you? And then it's just me, you know, that's just what I do. But it would be kind of nice to see some kind of arrows, you know, how you see like New York, thousands of miles away. Well, you know, maybe with like restaurant names, you know, 828 Fa down this way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, wayfinding. Yeah, we'll
there you
look
go.
at options on what we can do with that.
I think it would be something fun to do and something fun to see down there. And then with that new store that just opened up where Faya's was, I just walked by the other day and noticed that they were open, and it was just like, oh wow, this is really cool, you know. So I walked in, and it's different, huge space, but you know, I think they need some more help too. With, hey, we're new in town, you know.
Hey, Ryan, I want to just double up on Tish's idea. I think that's such a really important thing that we have to work on, because I see lots of people lost and I have to give them direction. But one of the things you could incorporate is that barcode, the scan code at different locations.
Awesome.
That could help, and it could be changed. Like for myself, I have live scan fingerprinting. So if you gave me the opportunity to have a barcode someplace on my, like maybe my business sign, I would pay extra for that, and that would be revenue for all of our other needs.
Absolutely. We'll look at some of these ideas and bring something back for you guys with the OCTA funds. It's a perfect project.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and adjourn here. This was really great to see everybody. Thank you for joining us digitally and continuing to care so much about downtown and make it really an amazing place.
Peace, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody. Stay healthy.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.